I'm Molly.
I'm Julie.
And I'm Jen.
And welcome to Folks Forever, a Lois and Clark rewatch podcast.
We're three fans who've been loving LNC since 1993.
Each week we'll recap one episode and talk about at least one LNC related topic.
If you would like to learn more about who we are, how we became folks, and or how we became friends, check out our intro episode.
Today we're going to be discussing Season 1, Episode 10, Pheromone, My Lovely. We also have a profile on Michael Landis, our Jimmy Olsen number 1. Or is it number 1 Jimmy Olsen? Your choice. Pheromone, My Lovely first aired on November 28th, 1993. And back then, if you were going to watch a movie, sure, you could go to the theater, but you could also rent a video and bring it home to play on your VCR. First, you'd have to get your parents to drive you to Blockbuster, Hollywood Video, or the local mom and pop shop. They'd have a section for new releases, one for kids' movies, another for comedies, yada yada. But how to decide? Whatever you picked, you had to fork over a couple of bucks, and then go right home and watch it, because it was usually due the next day by a set time. By 1993, some households did have Laserdisc players too. In November 1993, a short list of some of the titles that had recently hit the video store shelves: The Adventures of Huck Finn, Life with Mikey, Free Willy, Weekend at Bernie's 2, The Muppet Christmas Carol, Cop and a Half, Tom and Jerry the Movie, Dennis the Menace, The Sandlot, Indecent Proposal, and Groundhog Day. Every LNC episode had a title. Sometimes the titles are a play on words or a reference to an old movie or song. Pheromone, My Lovely is a play on the title of the 1940 novel Farewell, My Lovely by Raymond Chandler, which has been adapted into several films. Julie, do you have any memories of your first time seeing Pheromone, My Lovely?
I don't have anything specific other than I do remember recognizing Miranda from Mork and Mindy because I really loved that show back then. I was a rerun kid. And I just remember loving the turmoil that Clark was put through. And the kiss. Come on, the kiss. We all wanted that.
It's a very long one.
A very, very long one.
I don't remember a lot, but I do. I think I was super into the fact that Lois kind of really liked Clark in this episode, even though it was kind of just because of the perfume. I wanted it to mean that Lois was actually starting to realize that she had feelings for Clark, and so I feel like I was grasping at that, at any little hint of her attraction to him.
I vaguely remember seeing this episode when it aired. No really strong memories, but it is one of the episodes Lois flashes back to in House of Luther, which I was more familiar with. And also, 3 scenes from this episode made it into the theme song of season 2. So I was aware of Lois being in an episode with a white dress with balloons around the newsroom, and I was aware of her dancing in the blue outfit and all that. When I finally got to see the episode again in 96, I remember really liking it. Before we get into our more detailed discussion of Pheromone, My Lovely, we'll be giving our very own summaries in 16 words or less. And today we start with Julie.
My summary is: tainted perfume makes Lois horny for Clark and ultimately gives Superman an excuse to kiss her.
A good one. Mine is: Lois comes to Clark's apartment and does a sexy dance, and Clark doesn't even try anything.
It's true.
Which is good. Good job, Clark. Thank you.
Good job, Clark.
Mine is: nearly everyone loses their minds thanks to some perfume, and secondhand embarrassment is real.
For Lois.
I know.
Poor
I would
Rahelia.
die.
Poor Perry.
We'll get
Kind of.
there.
I feel bad for him. I don't know. His nose.
His poor little nose.
There are feelings to be had for sure.
So we have guest stars in this episode, and one of them was pretty big back in the day. We're starting with Morgan Fairchild, who is actually credited as special guest star. I don't know if you noticed that in the credits. She plays Miranda. She's known for standout TV roles. Jennifer Pace on Search for Tomorrow, Jenna Wade on Dallas, Constance Carlisle on Flamingo Road, Jordan Roberts on Falcon Crest. She also played Dottie on Pee-wee's Big Adventure. She has a long list of TV shows and movies, but I have to mention her memorable roles, both as Chandler's mom on Friends and Julia St. Martin on Murphy Brown. Tony J also returns as Nigel St. John. We've covered him before. We love you, but we're not giving you any extra time. Sorry.
Maybe we'll do a profile on him eventually, but
Wow.
We should. Courtney Taylor plays April. She's best known for Prom Night 3, The Last Kiss, Cover
of
Me, and
course.
My Secret Identity. We have Sophia Santi, who played Rahalia. She is best known for CSI, ER, Dexter, Shameless.
I noticed that Lois and Clark was one of her very first roles, and she's gone on to have quite a career.
Yeah. Jeff Austin played Phil, best known for Mr. Mayor, Grace and Frankie, and Armageddon. And last but not least, Conrad Goode played Hans, and he is best known for Don't Say a Word, Con Air, Anger Management, Me, Myself, and Irene, and The Longest Yard.
So apparently Jeff Austin was also in Strange Visitor, but who did he play?
Yes.
Does anybody know which character?
He played a soldier, just a random soldier.
Was he in the warehouse scene, or was he in the Daily Planet along with Trask?
That I don't know.
I meant to go back and look
don't
for
know.
him and didn't get around to it. We'll have a lot of people, for our listeners, we'll have a lot of actors who come back and play different characters on Lois and Clark over the years, and some of them will just be like extras that you just recognize, and others, like Leslie Jordan, will come back as an entirely different character that I hope you don't notice. Actually, they probably knew we would notice and didn't give a crap.
It's too good to care.
Yeah, and he was so
They
versatile.
could-
He definitely
They could have brought him back for something completely new.
third season.
every season. That would have been
He
amazing.
could have been Dr. Dieter in season 3, and then we wouldn't have hated Dieter so much.
Well, maybe.
Oh God.
Julie's
Yeah,
face,
no.
she's like, no, then I'd hate him.
No.
The worst.
Let's get into the episode. We are going to start off by giving a nice thank you to the script writer and the wardrobe for putting Clark shirtless in bed. Thank you. His 7 o'clock alarm goes off and he wakes up groggy and then smashes it with his hand. I wonder how many alarms he's had in his life that he has ruined. He gets up, he cooks himself some breakfast, does his little morning routine of 2 eggs cooked with heat vision, and then he decides to drink an entire gallon of milk and toss it out the window into the trash below. I would like to comment that while that's much healthier fridge than in the pilot when it was filled with donuts and Spam, it's still pretty pathetic. It has a bunch of milk, creamer, butter, eggs, yogurt. It was a lot of dairy and no real food. So Clark eats at super speed because he's probably going to be late for work. And then he hears the trash truck pull up and he's like, oh crap. He runs out as Superman and then does this weird run over to the truck, grabs it, and pulls out his jug, flies over and tosses it into the recycling bin. And this poor little kid is just staring up at him like, wow. And while I gave credit to the scriptwriter at the beginning, I now have to not, because this has got to be the worst, the worst line of the series.
Remember, it's not just garbage anymore.
It was very cheesy. I get recycling was probably a big thing, but was there a big push for it then, or what's the deal? Because it was way cheesy.
Well,
It was cheesy when it aired. I remember thinking this
Yes.
was cheesy. So
Yes, very.
Lois and Clark did lean into the environment and recycling a couple of times. Not, I think the next one is Witness that it happens, but I have 2 things about this. Okay, number 1, he throws the milk carton out of his window, and presumably, I mean, it kind of sounds like it only goes down a little ways. Yet in a few episodes, his mother's going to push him off a balcony, and he's going to go way down.
flying.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hanging on to that. So I always thought Clark lived on like the 4th floor. So I that bothered me. And that leads me into, I think this and the baseball scene in Requiem and the basketball scene in The Rival are Clark's fever dreams. These are not actual things that have happened because they don't make sense. There's something wrong with them. There's some reality that's skewed in all of them. Like Clark's weird dairy fridge. Like when you have dreams and you encounter something like your fridge or something and it doesn't have the normal food in it, that's a sign you're dreaming. I'm just saying.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'm on board with this, actually. This is a good theory.
And did you notice he'd never used the word recycle, which I thought was kind of interesting. It's in the script to say recycle, but he didn't say it. It's
Why?
implied because it was the recycling bin, so we know, but and my issues with this scene is now now they kind of might know where you live, Superman, because that's your trash. That
They
may
don't
not have been
know
the
that
smartest
he
move.
threw it in there. They just know that Superman's suddenly really interested in a milk carton for some reason.
The kid's like,
One milk carton.
throwing away my recycle. Yeah. Here comes Superman, who's gonna get me in trouble.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And he could have just grabbed it out of the trash instead of stopping the truck that way and hurting the tires. And the guy was like, what? What's happening?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was excessive. That whole thing was very weird.
All right, listeners, you can weigh in. What do you think? Is this scene trash or is this scene
Or does it need
garbage? Or is it not just garbage anymore? I don't know what I'm going with that. Okay.
I like it.
A or B. So we are at the Daily Planet now. Perry is trying to have a staff meeting, but there's a bunch of commotion going on. A bunch of people come out of the elevators, like models, photographers, and he has no idea what's going on, which I find kind of strange. He missed that memo, apparently. So basically, marketing set it up. They're using the planet as a backdrop for a new perfume called Exclusive. Jimmy is drooling and delusional, thinking he might have a chance with one of these models, but no, sorry, Jimmy, you do not. Perry's afraid to look at any of them because he thinks Alice has spies everywhere. Then we go to Lex's penthouse, where two people are fencing in full fencing gear, masks, swords, smashing vases. One of them gets jabbed. We see a little blood. They take off their masks, and we learn that Lex is the victor. Miranda comes in, upset that he cut her funding off for her research project. Basically, her project is adding animal pheromones to perfume. Her theory is that adding animal pheromones to perfume will cause the wearer to lose all their inhibitions. He's been funding this for 2 years with the promise of results in 6 months, so it's been way over that, and he's done. She says she can prove it, but he doesn't care. He says he does not fund losers. So she tries a different tactic and says, well, what about us? This was a labor of love. And Lex is just a complete jerk, saying, you were an itch, you have been scratched. Ouch, that's a bit harsh. Nigel then comes in and announces that Lois is on the phone confirming dinner. Miranda is instantly jealous. She sees the Daily Planet paper with her byline on it and leaves. She now knows Lois Lane works at the Daily Planet and Lex is interested in her. So she's super jealous.
I have an issue about this whole thing that they've set up here. And I know it's silly because maybe I'm just reading too much into it, but the perfume only impacts the person wearing it. What about the people who smell it that aren't wearing it? Is it a smelling thing or is it because it's absorbed through the skin? I just have questions.
Science facts. Not gonna get answered.
There's a few flaws in this episode for sure. It's very season's greetings flawed.
I thought they had to breathe it.
But you breathe it when you put it in the air too. I mean, like, you know what I mean? If someone smells it, you're breathing it in.
Yes.
This was the same issue I was going to bring up later with Miranda. When Miranda sprayed it, how come it doesn't affect her?
She walks through the cloud to get to Lex.
Exactly.
I know we're jumping the gun here, but I had the same notes. I'm like, interesting. How come why is this supposed to impact him, but it's not impacting her? She literally just walked through the clouds she just sprayed.
I just think that
Mhm.
she's been working on it for 2 years and has developed some kind of immunity to it. Not
Okay.
total, obviously, when she gets the 100, at the end.
Well,
So-
in the end scene, now I'm really getting ahead of myself, but in the end
It's
scene,
okay.
Superman
Everyone's
says
seen it.
Superman says that he
Dilutes it.
English dilutes it, yeah. Which I don't know
Yeah.
how he does that with his little super, because he breathes it in and then blows it in her face, but
Yeah. That's whole thing.
Who
Oh my gosh.
knows?
Okay, let's just pretend it's immunity that she has, and then we'll
Okay.
see if that holds out through the episode as we
Okay.
continue.
I'm down.
All right, so she leaves Lex's place and goes back to her shop. She checks her mail and she sees that there's an invitation that the premiere of the perfume is going to be happening at the Daily Planet. Light bulb moment, great opportunity. She now knows how to prove her theory. So back at the Daily Planet, Clark and Jimmy are having the best day of their lives. Jimmy should probably be walking around taking photographs, but instead, he and Clark are just sitting on Lois's desks, watching the beautiful people, as Lois called them. Lois is super annoyed that they're not going to get any work done. And Clark suggests that they should just take the day off and play hooky, which completely offends her because it is a work day. She's not going to play hooky. She never has. She never will. She thinks that they think she's not a fun person.
What are you saying, Clark? That I'm not a fun person? That I don't know how to have fun?
Just then, Miranda comes in and sprays them, which is very stinky. Jimmy says, "What died?" Perry refers to it as sweat socks. But what I find interesting is what Lois said. She says that she doesn't wear perfume ever. We know that's not true, but
Even
she
down the
does.
wall
She puts
behind
it
my-
behind her knee.
Behind her knee, I don't
Yeah.
even know why. Yeah.
So a little time has passed. Lois is now sitting at her desk. They're back to work. She's starting to feel the effects of the perfume, feeling a bit hot and bothered. She starts unbuttoning her top buttons of her blouse, reapplying some lipstick. She's staring at Clark, who is completely oblivious to what's happening. She stands up, saunters over, sticks her leg on his desk, and says,
Clark?
Just a sec, Lois.
Clark, completely oblivious, looks up, and his jaw hits the floor. He slowly looks up at her and wonders if she's feeling okay. She leans over, never better. "I just couldn't help noticing how very handsome you look today." Clark, confused, thinks she's after some kind of favor, like fixing her VCR or needing research or a ride to the airport. Why would she want a ride to the airport from Clark? He doesn't have a car.
Good point.
Amy broke her VCR, didn't she? I can see
Yes.
that needing fixed.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yes. She says, "I don't want anything except you." Off of Clark's
Ooh.
confused expression, we go find out what Perry, Jimmy, and Kat are up to. Perry is in his office listening to Elvis, staring at Rahelia's butt. Jimmy is flirting with a model, introducing himself as James, but we know he has zero chance with this girl, especially after saying he's known for photos from Bosnia, Beirut, and Nam. Come on, Jimmy. But he must be in somewhat of a sound mind because he says her place is where they should go for cocktails, not his, because his is probably kind of not the greatest. Does he live in a dump?
We don't know. Maybe he even has a roommate.
Yeah, we never get to see Jimmy's place.
We never see it.
That's sad.
No.
He does, doesn't he
Not even
refer to
later.
it in like second season as like a bachelor
Next-
pad?
He lives
Yeah.
next door to a fire station. That's what we
Yeah.
learn. I was thinking about how Jimmy says these lies to this model, and this is not the first time that Jimmy has swelled his own sort of ego in order to try to attract the women. I mean, we know with Lucy, he was a little bit like he did a little with that, but the one I suddenly started thinking about, which is the one in the pilot after Clark has rescued Lois and Jimmy from the warehouse. In the next scene, everybody's celebrating, and somebody asks, "Were you scared, Jimmy?" And remember, Jimmy was unconscious.
Nah.
And Jimmy's like, scared? No, I knew that if we didn't get out of there and, the colonists' transport would blow up as well. So he makes it sound to these people like he was awake the whole time and he's the one who helped get them out of there. It's like total BS. And
Yeah.
here he goes again. Jimmy.
Well, he wasn't
Bad
scared then. He
Jimmy,
was
come
passed
on.
out.
Yeah, that's true.
He wasn't
Technically, he
scared.
wasn't lying. Yeah.
He was just taking a nap. He wasn't scared at all. And then with Penny, he over exaggerates with that too. So where is Kat? Kat is in the copy room, frustrated that the copier just ate her original when just so happens a copier tech walks in. He opens the copier and she comments that he must know what he's doing, basically. And he says, yes, that he's good with his hands. Say no more to Kat. That's all she needs to know.
Yeah.
She takes her earring off and walks towards him. All right, let's get back to Lois and Clark. Lois now has Clark pinned up against the wall, and he says a great line, which is, Lois, get a grip. She says, oh, believe me, I'd love to. We'd all love to. Come on.
Yeah, we would. But also now he's okay with telling a woman in the office that what she's doing is making him very uncomfortable. Why now?
So Lois wants to play hooky now and can't keep her hands off of him, making him very uncomfortable. Just then, Rahalia comes out of Perry's office all upset, and he's screaming that basically she's the woman of his dreams. And poor Clark, the only one who has any type of sense right now, is like, well,
What about your wife?
My wife?
Alice? Your wife? The woman who has spies everywhere?
Oh, well, Clark, there's plenty of love to go around.
Elvis never cheated on Priscilla.
He never met Rahalia.
I noticed
Come
Perry
on.
speaking Spanish in this scene, which I was like, Perry speaks Spanish? And I rewound like 6 times trying to figure out what Rahalia was saying, and all I could catch was that she calls him a pig. I don't know what she said
He is a
before that.
Yeah.
So Clark needs a minute, so he walks away. He hears something going on, and he x-rays into the coffee room. And what does he see? What's going on in that coffee room? Kat and the technician. Oh my God. Just then, Lois comes up. Minutes up, Clark. Come to mama, and grabs his tie and yanks him away. Love it. Poor Clark.
He loved it though. I feel like internally he was probably like, this is good.
Loving it and dying at the same time. So we see Miranda in the background leaving in the elevator, all happy. She goes to get Lex, but my question is, why didn't she bring Lex then? She waited until the next day.
He wouldn't have
That
just
timeline's
come.
a little weird.
I don't think he would have just come because he had just kind of dismissed her, cut her off her funding. He needed the proof before he would show up, remember? Like she shows
Yeah,
him
and
the
I guess she
newspaper.
knows. I guess she knows it's not going to wear off yet. So
Right.
that next morning, she goes to the penthouse, pretending to be his fencing partner, probably because Nigel would not let her in if he saw her, and tells him that he needs to go to the Daily Planet. I love that she just jabs him with the fencing sword, and there's a little bit of blood on his shirt.
I'm just laughing
great.
at you saying that, Nigel wouldn't have let her in. So someone knocks at the door and
No.
Nigel opens it and there's the mask. They just come to the door wearing the mask and be like, hello.
Okay, you
I'm here
come on
to
in.
Come on
finish
in.
with Lex. Okay, this is normal.
Yes. And his fencing partner, Emil, just suddenly has boobs.
Or no, he's tied up in the alley. That's Miranda knocked him cold and stole his clothes. That's how these
Wait, where
things
did
go.
where did she get the clothes? Yes, exactly. So she also brings along the Daily Planet paper where the A's in the header have now been turned into hearts, and there's a story about couples reuniting. So then we go back to the planet. Clark is arriving for work, and the atmosphere is just a little bit different than usual. There are now balloons, flowers, confetti, hearts everywhere, teddy bears sitting around, birds, couples dancing. It's basically a Valentine's Day card thrown up all over the Daily Planet. So now we have some fan service for those Lois admirers as she gets up and she runs in slow-mo, throwing confetti into the air, flinging herself into his arms. Where have you been, my darling? Clark, annoyed that this is still going on, says, "We have to talk."
The scene where she ran towards him, I that got a laugh out of me this time, just because of the way they filmed it. Like they were obviously going for like, this is ridiculous. Here's the
Yes.
music, here's the slow-mo, here's her just a happy face, and Teri's just going for it. I love it.
Yeah.
Happy face, chest bouncing all over the place, confetti flying in the air. Yeah. What did you guys think of her dress?
That was really pretty.
This one is also at the Super Museum. So then Rahalia is in Perry's office threatening a harassment lawsuit, as she should. He says that it's okay, he will adore her from afar, but that he has composed a poem for her. Which goes,
I plucked a rose. I smelled its dew. That fragrant scent embodies you. Oh, Rahalia.
She seemed a bit flattered until she thought about it a second and goes,
I smell its dew. Dew doesn't smell.
and she storms out. And I love that. He's just like, oh, and then starts to scratch it out and rewrite it.
Yeah.
Dew doesn't smell.
Well, this is just one of those quotes that stuck with me for years. And whenever I think about Rahalia, I think of her, I smell its dew. Dew doesn't smell. Like, it's just one of those things that sticks out to me. And that is her catchphrase for all time.
It makes me laugh every time. Dew doesn't smell.
Just a quick reminder that, Perry came up in the journalism. I mean, he is a writer, maybe not a poet, but he doesn't get his chance to do much composing, though.
So Clark is in a maroon suit jacket, a blue shirt, and yet another eccentric tie, this one with a splash of yellow. And yes, we got some red, blue, and yellow going on. He's following Lois down the ramp, telling her that she is out of control. But Lois is twirling, grinning, and declaring how free she finally feels. Clark looks concerned and says something strange is going on. Lois agrees. Yes, strange, but wonderful. Clark gently spins her around and parks her in a chair, urging her to focus. He wants to figure out what is happening. As he tries to piece things together, Lois suddenly hops into his lap, all giggles and flirtation, rattling off obsessive details about their lunch yesterday. And that's when it clicks. Something's up with the perfume. Just then, Jimmy walks in and slaps some model photos on the desk. Clark warns him to be careful, not wanting Jimmy to get hurt, but Jimmy just shrugs it off. Meanwhile, Perry exits the elevator just as Lex enters the scene. Perry throws out a cryptic, "Love waits for no man," leaving Lex confused. Then he turns and takes in the planet's new look. Lex is completely stunned. So cut to Lois, still perched on Clark's lap, while Clark examines the photos. He spots Miranda holding a perfume bottle. Something clicks. He jumps up to leave. But Lois asks, "Where are you going?" And Clark responds with, "I'll be right back." And she goes, "Cross your heart and hope to die." And Clark just responds, he goes, "Scout's honor." And then she wraps him in a big sappy hug. Cute. As Clark heads out, Lex approaches. And then there's someone in a really sad pastel floral dress that hands him a love balloon.
Lex,
Ugh.
yeah. And then he lets it go. Lex
Yeah.
doesn't care about balloons.
No, he doesn't care about love, unless it's for love of money or stealing Lois.
Self.
Yeah. So
Mhm.
Lex greets Lois and comments on how much things have changed. Lois, still floating in her perfume haze, says that she hadn't noticed. Then Lex casually asks if they're still on for dinner tomorrow. Lois says, "Okay, sure," and then tacks on, "But you need to understand something. There's only one man in the world for me, Clark Kent." And Lex is like, jaw on the ground. Where did that
It's
come
true,
from?
though. I mean, she's not wrong, but we have to wait a few seasons. Lex doesn't think there's any chance of that ever happening. Like, look, the look on his face suggests he's like, Clark Kent. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah, like,
right.
sure.
Like, I'll take Superman as a rival, but not Clark. Yeah. So the next scene, Jimmy pulls up to a nightclub in a flashy red car, thinking that he's the man. But the bouncer stops him cold. It's members only. No problem, Jimmy thinks. He casually just slips the guy some cash, which the bouncer immediately shoves into his mouth like it's a snack. Gross. Do we
Yeah,
need Do we even
Blech.
ugh. We need to talk
Honey
about how
is
disgusting
gross.
that is.
We need to talk about Jimmy's red convertible.
Yeah, where did that come from?
My theory, his dad gave it to him as a I'm sorry I'm never around present, but he can't really afford to keep it insured, so he doesn't ever drive it.
Sure.
Okay,
There's a much
yeah.
simpler.
Makes so much
Or he
sense.
rent he rented
Much
it.
simpler example or whatever in the script. It says that he rented it.
Ooh,
He rented it to impress her.
okay.
Oh. Just then, Jimmy spots the model that he's been obsessed with. April, he calls out, all hopeful, but she is not having it. She tries to wave him off, and when that doesn't work, she tries to stick her bodyguard Hans on him. So now Jimmy is just crushed and embarrassed, and so he just wanders into the street and almost gets flattened by a car. But cue the dramatic music. Superman swoops in.
Pretty sure it was not like I'm trying to correct you or anything, but I think it was a truck, and I only mention it because these murderous trucks in Metropolis are getting out of hand. First Allie
Okay.
DeMello, now
Yeah.
almost Jimmy. They're just barreling down the street.
It could have been a car. I interchange car and truck like they're the same thing. So, and maybe it was a
Gotcha.
truck. Maybe it was a van. Maybe it was a train. I don't know. But
Train.
when Superman saves him, we get a real good look at Jimmy's outfit. What did you guys think about his light beige or maybe white pants?
It was Miami Vice.
Yeah.
Yes, it was very Miami
High
Vice.
waters. It gave suburban dad on like laundry day or something. It was
It was nothing we've seen Jimmy in before, and I hope we never see him in again.
it was like he was trying really hard.
Not Clark's first time saving Jimmy, but his first time with Jimmy knowing that he's being saved by Superman in the suit. The
Because
first time
the first
Superman
time
in
he
the
was-
suit saves Jimmy.
Because the first time it was Clark and
Yeah.
Jimmy was unconscious.
Right.
So this is the first Superman save.
And when he saves Jimmy, he's like, "Are you all right, Jimmy?" We don't get Jimmy going, "How do you know my name? We've not met." Or have they met?
Well,
Hmm.
Lois hangs out with Jimmy a lot, so I'm sure, and Lois hangs out with Superman a lot and Clark. So I'm sure Lois has mentioned.
I'm sure he
Him.
could use that. He could be like,
Superman?
"Oh, I got it from Lois." Yeah. If
Yeah.
Jimmy asked him, "How did you know who I am?" Oh, well.
Hmm.
Then again, Jimmy may not remember this night very well, so he may never again come up.
That's true. He is still under the pheromone. So cut to Perry White standing in the hallway, and he was looking real confident. He's outside of someone's apartment. We don't know whose, but he's fully committed to this look. He's got a black leather jacket with his collar popped, matching leather pants, a white scarf, and then that hair. It's kind of slicked back with just the right amount of Elvis curl in the front.
Looking good.
Oh, and he's serenading, singing "Burnin' Love."
A honka burning love.
There it is.
That was a good impression.
Honka.
Oh, good.
Boom.
Okay. So the door.
A
The
honka
door-
honka to you.
I love this. Okay, so the door creaks open and it's not Rahalia. It's her very large, very unamused husband. And Rahalia's standing right behind him and a baby's crying in the background. So Perry just pauses, realizing that this might not be the romantic moment that he had imagined. And the man reaches back, and then you kind of cut, and there's an implied punch to the face. Poor guy. I know he's making some poor decisions, but he's under the influence, and I feel bad for him. So now Clark is in his apartment, casually speed reading a stack of magazines when he suddenly stops when he sees it. A full-page ad featuring Miranda posing with her signature perfume bottle. So Clark compares the ad from to the photo from the Daily Planet and starts to piece things together. He smiles and then picks up the phone, ready to call this in, when there's a knock on the door. Enter Lois Lane, and she is not here for small talk. She storms in, drops her trench coat, and reveals a full belly dancer ensemble. The sparkly bra top, flowy shirt, sequin hip belt, and a scarf that she's waving around. She purrs that it's not too late for them to be happy together. But Clark is not amused. He tells her to stop, but she's wearing him down hard. Lois tells Clark, I love you and I want to spend the rest of my life with you. And Clark tells her to go home. She responds, I am home if I'm with you.
It's cute
Clark
from a fourth season standpoint, I'm saying.
It is.
So Clark finally starts to break.
Lois, you don't know how many times I've thought about this, dreamt about this. Well, something like this, but it's not real.
Lois lifts a large scarf with a slit in it, swaying toward him, peeking through like she's casting a romantic spell. Clark stands his ground. He won't take advantage of her like this. As Lois gets closer, her eyes widen. She sees something new in Clark and admits how remarkable it is. Clark asks her what's wrong, and she responds,
You look a lot like Superman.
My thoughts are that with the perfume, like she has no inhibitions. Like maybe because she has no inhibitions, it allows her to truly see him for the first time, to truly look at him and realize that he's Superman.
100% correct. I agree.
She needs to look at him more.
Yes, she does. So after the commercial, we find Lois waking up sprawled across Clark's bed, looking like she's got a full-on hangover. Meanwhile, Clark's pacing in the living room. Clark finally walks into the bedroom and says, Lois, I can't take it anymore. And then he grabs her gently by the waist and adds, if you really want me, I'm yours. Lois pushes him off, and then she goes, Clark, have you lost your mind? Then she looks down at what she's wearing, and then she gasps, and she goes,
Or have I lost mine?
so the perfume is worn off, and the timing's impeccable.
Dang it.
I remember just being mad at this point. I'm like, oh.
No, I mean, it's a good thing though, because if they had gone any farther, the curse would have kicked in and and she'd be dead.
Mm-hmm.
She'd be dead. That's true.
That's true. Wow. I hadn't thought about that. H.G. Wells. H.G. Wells could have
Oh yeah, he would have popped up.
popped in.
Excuse
He
me.
would have popped in. Excuse me.
You don't
Good
know me
evening,
well.
dear children.
Before
And then
you
we're
do
gonna-
the deed.
Don't do it.
Funny.
Abstain.
So they never would have done it. It would have been okay
It's
if
okay.
she had not. If she had started to go for it, H.G. Wells would have knocked at the door and the audience would have been massively confused.
No, they're like, where did this come from? We haven't
It's like-
written the part, yeah.
What's like Mike the Angel? Where the hell did he come from?
I know.
Oh God.
Mike. Ugh.
He's the
He's
worst.
the most maddening character on Lois and Clark ever, other than Dieter. Okay, so now the two of them are sitting at the table with mugs in their hand. Maybe it's tea. Clark asks if she's feeling better. She says no, and her face says absolutely not. She's mortified, and she's drowning in this embarrassment from her belly dancing escapades. Clark tries to soften the blow. He tells her that she wasn't herself last night and that she's lucky the perfume wore off when it did, before things got really humiliating.
I don't like it when he says that.
I know.
'Cause he was the one who almost like tried to get her to do something.
Exactly.
It would have been humiliating for you, Clark, to take advantage.
Jeez.
So
Yeah.
yeah,
I
don't put it on
Exactly.
her.
exactly.
Yeah, why isn't
I
she
got
mad? She should be mad.
Yeah,
that line
also
rubbed me the
horrified.
wrong way.
but also just mortified. Yeah.
I would die.
Me too. So Lois asks,
Did I really do the dance of the 7 veils?
Mm-hmm. All 7.
Doesn't it mean that she was completely naked if she did all 7?
I looked up
Yeah.
the 7 veils. Molly, what did you find out?
Well, I can talk about that now. Yeah. It was
Okay.
part of my section too about real life things. So the Dance of the Seven Veils is just an interpretive striptease. There's not really when he says all 7, it's not a 7-act dance. So I have no idea what he means by he's just being weird.
Yeah.
She wakes up dressed.
Yeah.
So the
Yeah.
only two possibilities are, one, she got all full on and he covered her back up, which seems a little intimate, or she just did a really sexy dance and then passed out. And I like to
Yeah.
believe the second one. And when
I
he
do
says
too.
all seven,
Yeah.
he just means that she went on it. She danced for a while. That's what I'm assuming.
Yeah. Clark then tries to bring her back to normal and says that he needs his partner back. She takes a breath, gets up, and heads off to get changed with a promise that she would be back.
And don't even think about making me wait.
She's back.
Clark and Lois walk into a quirky little shop with incense, perfumes, and a beaded curtain. Out pops Miranda from behind the said beads, asking if she can help them find anything. Clark plays it cool, asking if she makes all her own perfumes. Miranda just smiles and says that yes, she's a chemist. Because of course she is. Evil plants and fragrance chemistry kind of go hand in hand. Clark introduces himself and Lois as reporters from the Daily Planet, and Miranda remembers them having just tested her latest perfume in the newsroom. Clark starts asking more pointed questions about that specific scent, and Miranda drops its name, Revenge. Lois asks for the ingredients and informs Miranda, very bluntly, that her perfume basically turned everyone in the office Looney Tunes in love. Miranda clutches her black cat while trying to defend herself.
Kitty, kitty cat. Looks like my kitty.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Mine too.
You have a black cat? Yeah.
I do.
I didn't catch if she had a name for her kitty, but I wish that they could have.
There was a name in the script.
There was?
I wrote it down. Where's it at? Daru.
Okay.
I do love when Lois says, let's just cut the niceties. Clark's
Yeah.
face. Clark makes his face and is like, oh crap, and then walks away.
He knows her well enough.
Mm-hmm.
So as Lois continues to lay into her, Clark does a sneaky super scan around the shop. He zeroes in on the perfume and casually swipes the bottle into his coat pocket. Once again, stealing something that is not his, but hey, he's learned that Lois kind of likes it when he breaks a few rules. As Miranda holds her cat and tries to maintain some dignity, Clark checks her pulse, using a combo of maybe like X-ray vision and super hearing. So now, as Lois and Clark are walking down the sidewalk, Lois says she's lying. And Clark responds, I know. Her pulse rate was over 150. So Lois asks how he knows, and Clark says it's an expression. Lois blames it on Kansas, and they move on with their discussion. So when Lois asks how they can prove it, Clark pulls out the perfume bottle from his coat pocket, and they both look at each other and smile.
Did you guys see the weirdos in the background on the street?
No.
Oh,
What do we
There were
got?
some weirdos being weird. There was this girl with bright green hair, kind of like slinking around in the background, hiding from her friend. I'm guessing friend
man.
because I don't know what was happening. It was weird. It's a very eccentric store, so it makes sense that, there's a weird girl with green hair, but
now I need
what
to
she's
actually go
doing is
back and-
just strange.
In our next scene, we see Lex strolling over to Miranda. He congratulates her and says that he hopes that she's given his offer some thought. She has. Lex is offering her a full partnership, 50-50. But Miranda doesn't just roll over. They negotiate it down to 60-40, and with that, it's time to celebrate. Lex pops the champagne, and Miranda casually sprays a little cloud of perfume into the air, presumably on Lex, but more like in front of him, and then she walks straight through it. Sidestep, girl. But I think maybe, Molly, you're right. Maybe she built up immunity. I just don't understand why she doesn't get love struck. It's okay. I'm gonna
Well,
let
she
it go.
already is love struck with Lex, so hey.
That's true. That's true. Maybe it's already in effect. So Lex raises a concern. This perfume only lasts 48 hours. That's not very long. But Miranda explains that she's only been using the 1% solution. The pure formula causes a complete breakdown of inhibitions. Then Miranda turns to Lex and hints that she's hoping for something more, like it used to be between them. Lex shuts that down fast. I think not. I never mix business with other people's pleasure. Brr. Rude way to put it. Good for you for standing up, but also like you could have been nice about it.
Not
I don't know.
today. No.
Yeah, no, thank you.
No.
It's not you, it's me.
It's even more of an ouch when he just rubs it in that he's got a date to get ready
Oh,
for.
yes. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
a double ouch.
Yeah.
He's a little brutal.
So anyway, still Miranda tries again, asking if he feels anything for her. The answer is a flat no, and to make matters worse, he tells her that he has a dinner date with Lois Lane. Then Nigel escorts Miranda out and she gives one last glare. She mutters something like,
Soon all of Metropolis will know the feeling of love spurned.
So now Clark and Lois are walking through a metal detector outside, and Clark is trying to explain pheromones to Lois. She doesn't quite get it, though, because Dr. Friedman said it should only work if you're already attracted to the person. And Clark does this cute little grin as he puts his hands in his pocket, and Lois is like,
Clark, you were sprayed. How come you didn't fall for me?
I guess I'm just not attracted to you, Lois.
Liar, you are so attracted to me.
I guess not.
Guess so.
Guess not.
Guess so.
Can we get back to the story now, please?
So
Fine,
Lois and
fine,
Clark
fine.
squabble a bit, and then they go back to the story. Clark talks about Miranda's bio, first in her class at MIT, and then her research is funded by Luther Industries. Lois says that she'll ask him tonight during their dinner date because he finds her very attractive. She gets into the Daily Planet car, and Clark closes the door for her and rolls his eyes.
Clark driving the car again, I noticed.
And it's a Daily Planet car. I've never seen that.
Mhm.
We
Yeah, it
haven't
was
seen that
clearly
yet.
labeled this time, so
Yeah.
no questions. But yeah, he's driving again. I don't know. Should be
So
Lois.
they have one. Yeah. But later on, they go back to using taxis. So interesting. Kat and that repairman are still in the copy room. And Kat's hair is a jumbled mess, and she's haphazardly wearing his tie. Hijinks have been had. She checks the paper from the copy machine and pouts. Perfect. And the guy responds with, well, my work here is done. But Kat has other ideas. She grabs some needle nose pliers and pulls out a boingy thing from the copier. And the guy's head, he looks like his head is just about to explode right off his body.
This, in case anyone's keeping track, it has been 48 hours or so since they got sprayed.
This is like day 3.
So,
Good grief.
regardless of what entered Kat's senses, 2 days in the copy room. Okay.
Ridiculous.
This show so silly sometimes.
Not quite realistic, but okay.
No.
Right.
That guy's a
So
superhero.
Yeah, for real.
I wrote in my
Go
notes,
home.
Cat and the copier guy have been going at it for 48 hours, but when I did it, I accidentally wrote Lex and the copier guy. And I was like, oh, that'd be something.
Whoa.
Oh, wow, that's a different. It's a fanfic waiting to happen, or an enfic.
That's an enfic. That's an enfic for sure.
Yes, absolutely. So Clark and Lois walk into the chief's office asking him what happened and does it hurt. And then we cut to Perry and see his nose is all bandaged up, and Perry deadpans, only when I laugh. Then he shows him some papers, and he's being this is not funny.
It is funny.
He's
Only
being,
when I laugh.
he's being sued for sexual harassment. Okay, wait, I have to say this, not laughing because it's
Why
not
is this
funny.
funny? I can't stop laughing. Okay, sorry.
Julie. Okay.
It's the only when I
Okay.
laugh.
So he shows them papers. He's being sued for sexual harassment. But not only that, Alex kicked him out. So we get a couple Elvis quotes, including something about Heartbreak Hotel. And Lois tells him that he has a defense and that and explain what's going on with the perfume. Perry says that will help with the lawsuit, but what about Alice? So Lois and Clark encourage him to fight for her, write her poems, put her on a golden pedestal.
Perry? Yeah, Perry doesn't even think that's worth trying. Well, sheesh, Perry, with that attitude.
Isn't this
See-
like the start of their marriage problems? Or maybe they've already had them.
Definitely a symptom of.
It doesn't help.
So Lex and Lois are having dinner at Lex's place in kind of a mirror scene from their dinner together in the pilot. They're having a nice chat when, kind of suddenly, Lex becomes mesmerized with Lois's eyes. Lois asks him if he's feeling all right, and he says, "Of course, I'm never sick." Never? A minute later, Lex becomes fixated on Lois's hands and compares them to fine porcelain. He tells her,
You are the most beautiful creature I have ever seen.
and she's like, "Okay." Cut to Miranda's shop. Miranda glances at a newspaper where Lois's earlier fruit fly spraying article is printed and says to herself,
All of Metropolis.
She opens a cabinet where we see multiple bottles labeled Revenge 100% Solution. She takes one out and opens it, accidentally spilling some on a table. While Miranda is distracted, her cat begins lapping up some of the substance. Miranda notices and picks up Kitty and locks her in a carrier so she doesn't get any more. The cat meows pitifully a few times until suddenly we hear a huge crash, and the cat is gone. Miranda says, "Oh, that'll do nicely." So part of me is like, this jerk, Miranda, does not even check to see if the cat's okay. She just goes on with her work. But I am now convinced, I am convinced that the cat is probably fine, and here is my reasoning. So the cat drank the stuff and now has no inhibitions. But even without inhibitions, a small cat could not bust through metal bars. Therefore, we have to consider that the pheromone compound gives cats superpowers, and the cat is now off living its best life without Miranda. Miranda's a jerk.
Birthing hundreds of babies.
Yeah.
Let's hope that cat is spayed because yikes.
Seriously.
That's the only way that cat could bust out of the cage is if it's strong and invulnerable, and I will die on that hill. Miranda says love is in the air, and then she takes a knife and stabs the newspaper right on top of Lois's byline. So, watch out, Lois. She's a-comin'.
Yikes.
At the Daily Planet, Clark asks Lois how her date with Lex went the night before. Lois says, interesting, and clarifies that Lex wasn't quite himself. Clark replies, that must have been a welcome change. Lois gives Clark a look. They're all starting to gather in one of the conference rooms. Jimmy delivers a note to Lois, and she opens it without showing Clark. It's from Miranda, telling Lois that she'll give her the scoop on her perfume if only she meets her at the airport alone. Rahelia walks by, and she and Perry give each other the side eye. We learn Rahelia has dropped her sexual harassment suit against Perry. Into the bullpen walks the model Jimmy was hitting on earlier, April. Jimmy scurries over to talk to her, despite Perry yelling at him to get his butt back there.
Why was April there?
Because he'd called her, I think. But again, why did she? Maybe it's a neutral zone, and I think he called her. Yeah.
I don't know.
Well, it kind of sounds like she's ready to hear what he has to say, and that she came specifically to talk to him.
Maybe? Who knows?
So he runs off to talk to her. But first, Kat comes into the conference room. Lois asks her how much of the pheromone stuff Kat got sprayed with. Lois says, you seem pretty insatiable for even, well, you. And at first I was like, how did Lois even notice what Kat was doing since she was so busy going after Clark? But then I realized, okay, from when we last saw Kat in the copy machine room, another day has gone by. So it's been 72 hours.
Holy cow.
Yes.
Is she tired?
Yikes.
Anyway, Kat responds with, what spray? I didn't get sprayed. Cue a goofy saxophone riff. Oh, Kat.
Mm-hmm.
So meanwhile, Jimmy is talking to April. He apologizes for his actions and admits that he was not acting like himself. He's not a great photographer, like he told her. He's really a nobody. April feels for him, and as Perry and some of the others are all staring at him, April decides to give Jimmy a big old kiss, and a bunch of people cheer. And then she is never seen again.
Okay. What universe are we on where if you're in your office with your coworkers and somebody starts making out with somebody else and you're all standing around watching them and then you clap? No, no,
Clap.
no, no, no. Everyone is in the wrong here.
Yes, that would not happen.
But then we don't get Lois and Clark do it in a couple seasons. Do we
They
want that to
do.
stop? Do we?
No, I'm not saying, okay, this is where
It sets a
real,
precedent, doesn't it?
yeah, realism is out the window at this point. Don't you think?
Yes. This entire episode is surrealist humor gone
Yeah,
to the zoo.
it's completely gone. Yeah.
That's the vibe of the episode. And you can either accept it or you can not accept it. I think in order
Listen,
to enjoy it, you have to. So
I love it. I love it. But also, in a realistic world, this is not okay.
no.
This is weird. It's just awkward. I just can't imagine coworkers doing that and everyone being like, "Oh, yay."
You're not
It's
cheering
weird.
for Jimmy.
Well, interestingly, April sees all of them watching and then goes in for the kiss as
Yeah.
if to kind of give Jimmy some clout as a favor,
Yeah.
which is kind of ew at the same time. But anyway, is this the most action Jimmy gets all season? I feel like it is.
Yeah.
Which is why we're talking about
Probably.
Michael Landis today.
Yes.
It's a special
Probably.
episode.
A very special episode.
Yes, he almost died. Hello. And we got to
know.
see him in the Miami Vice pants. So this is a good episode for Jimmy.
Exactly.
Yes. Those were beautiful.
So Lois then leaves to go run some errands. I put that in quotes, but she's really going to meet Miranda. She doesn't tell anyone where she's going. Back at Lex's, Nigel comes in and we see Lex waking up from a deep sleep in a chair. So he had fallen asleep there the night before, and Nigel fills him in on some missing details from the previous evening. Lois left early, blah, blah, blah. And as Lex starts to get his wits back together, he recalls Miranda's words to him.
Soon all of Metropolis will know the feeling of love spurned.
And he realizes that Miranda must have sprayed him the day before, because that's why Lex got all goo-goo with Lois. Lex hates not being in control. We know this. And he's just now realizing, I think, how dangerous Miranda's perfume really can be. If it can affect Lex, king of the cool and confident and in control, oops, maybe this isn't such a good idea.
Do you think Nigel did the right thing by not waking him up? I think he should have carried him up to bed.
Are you on team? Are you with Matt on team Lex and Nigel?
Oh, heck yes. He should have carried him up to bed and tucked him in. That's what should happen.
Aw. Cute.
I would be mad if somebody just left me to sleep in a chair all night. My back would be broken. Like, why did you wake me up?
I think that when Nigel says, we decided not to wake you, it might not have been Nigel. It might have been somebody else the night before on evening duty. And they just used the collective we. Lex or Nigel being like, if I had been here, sir, we would not have left you in this chair. But Asabi was here, and so, he's a weakling.
Throws Asabi under the bus.
Well, that's his only other person at this point, so.
Yeah.
Mrs. Cox isn't here yet, so.
We were busy jumping on our pogo stick and we thought we'd let you sleep.
All right, so Lex realizes that Miranda's words were actually a veiled threat, and he recalls all of Metropolis and thinks to himself, oh crap, she's gonna spray the city somehow. So Lex heads for the Daily Planet. He needs to find Superman. At the airport, Lois parks and calls out for Miranda. Miranda comes out and sprays Lois with something that makes Lois cough and also knocks her out. But before she goes under, Lois manages to choke out, why me? And Miranda says, jealousy, I guess. Miranda says that basically she plans to kill Lois and says, if I can't have Lex, no one can. So this is the first of several, no, I'm thinking at least 3 women on Lois and Clark who love Lex so much that they want to like take down Lois because of their love for Lex. I'm thinking of Ariana Carlin and then kind of Gretchen Kelly. And then if you subscribe to Julie's theory, maybe also Nigel season 2.
And the pilot. Why am I blanking on her name?
Oh, yeah. Tony Baines.
Tony Baines, yes.
Yeah, that's right.
All right. At the Daily Planet, Lex comes in looking for Lois. When he learns she's not there, he starts to write her a note, but Clark presses him, asking him what he wants. Lex tells Clark what Miranda did to him and about her threat. He says he needs to find Superman. Clark is like, Superman? And continues to ask questions. Lex tells Clark that he thinks Miranda is planning to spray the entire city, and not with the perfume from earlier, with the 100% solution, which is supposedly permanent. They talk about how bad that would be, and then Clark hurries off, promising to try to find Superman somehow. As soon as Clark leaves, Jimmy passes by Lex and makes a joke about the fruit fly spraying. Lex realizes that Miranda might be using the spraying as her opportunity to spray the city with her stuff. He is horrified, and he heads toward the airport. Back at the airport, inside a hangar, there's a giant boiling vat of something, and poor Lois is now dangling above it. And she's screaming her head off, as you do. Superman arrives and rescues her. And just a nitpicky thing here, but I really wish that they would have had Superman fly up and get her and like hold her rather than just be like zzz and make her drop. She's still screaming.
Yes, this is what I wrote down. I was like, could he not have just flew up, grabbed her, reassured her that she wasn't going to fall to her death? Come on.
Yeah, it was probably easier,
more dramatic,
and easier and cheaper to film than not having him in a harness, and her and blah blah blah. And that was it was a stunt double. You can tell.
Yes, it was not her. It was not her at all. No.
Yeah, from a kindness standpoint, I wish that Superman had flown up and got her. Anyway.
Yes. Or at least said something like, "Hey, I'm here."
Oh, I know.
You're not gonna die.
Very awkward.
Like she thinks she's gonna die when she's falling.
Yeah.
Come on. I think she's above the Malthion spray too, right? Is that what it is? A vat of the
Ooh. Yeah, but it's like really hot, so it would kill her.
100%.
So after Lois kind of slightly almost realizes she's not going to die, she tells Superman that Miranda has just taken a plane up to the skies and is getting ready to release her compound. So Superman flies up alongside Miranda's plane, and he bends the pipes that are starting to let the spray out. And there's still a little bit floating around in the air. So he blows it toward Miranda. Why, I do not know. But now Miranda has suddenly got it bad for Superman.
But he diluted it, supposedly.
In his
at
lungs.
that point. Somehow.
Who knows?
Science.
Chemistry is cool.
Superman escorts Miranda back to the airport, lands her plane. Lois runs up to him and says she's thankful the spray doesn't affect him. Or does it? Superman turns around and gives the camera, aka us, a look like, hee, should I? He turns back to Lois and says,
Lois Lane, I love you.
Oh, Superman. You don't know how long I have waited to hear you say those words. Oh, but you're not yourself. So I couldn't take advantage of the situation. Oh, what the heck.
And then they begin to basically make out right there on the tarmac. And I did time it. And with the cuts and everything, it was almost 30 full seconds of kissing.
Dang. Wow.
Nice.
Don't quite understand if Clark wants to avoid her feelings for Superman. That was a pretty bold move because now she has even bigger heart eyes for Superman. And now he's bigger competition for Clark.
I don't think he's kind of gotten to the point where he's like, ooh, I shouldn't be doing this. Like in season 2, what is it? It's like Metallo, I think, is the first one where he's like, ooh, I should back off as Superman. She's getting way too into me.
Right.
Because before that, he goes to her apartment and they dance, and he goes to her apartment and this and that. And
he doesn't realize the harm he's doing yet.
He doesn't, and he doesn't. Hasn't
I also get like he got really, really close to giving in earlier as Clark. So he probably could taste it. He was right there. He was ready to go. And then he got ripped out from underneath him. So maybe, okay, I can see he's just giving in just a little bit, making
and
it
in
work however he
fairness,
can.
it's completely mutual. They both want it. I don't really have a problem with it, but I do. The only thing I have a problem with him looking at the camera and doing the eyebrow thing is so cheesy.
I
I thought it
don't
was
think that was
funny.
necessary, but it was funny.
I liked it, guys. I liked that. I mean, okay, it was fine.
But
It was
we had to
funny.
know that we had to know, I guess, as an audience that,
It didn't really
he was,
impact him.
yeah, it didn't.
Yeah, he was in control. He was in full control.
And that was a way to do that, even though it was cheesy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I still love it. I still love it.
It doesn't feel out of place in this episode. So if they were going to do it anywhere, it's good that they did it here.
Correct.
So they're kissing, and Lex is like,
Oh, no, Lois, don't. I may throw up.
we see Miranda being hauled away by the law enforcement, and she's saying, I love you, Superman. Oh no, Lex, I love you. Wait for me. No, says Lex. Lex then comes over and breaks up Superman and Lois's kiss to ask if Miranda is going to be okay. And Superman says yes, though how does he know she's going to be okay? He did blow the solution onto her, but whatever. Then from Superman to Lois, we get another very brief cheek touch, and he flies off. Lois is like, oh, and kind of melts into Lex's shoulder. And despite what Lex has just witnessed, Lex enjoys that. Look at his face in that scene, listeners. Go back and look at Lex's face. Woo! Cut to Lex's place, and he's tossing money into a fire. Nigel comes in, and Lex admits to Nigel that something terrible has happened. I've fallen in love, he says, hopelessly, eternally. I'm in love with Lois Lane. Nigel kind of smirks and says,
It's the perfume. Your mind's clouded.
Nope, says Lex, this is real, and I'm doomed. And so are we all.
Do we think that Lex is actually in love with her, or is he just seeing this as like an opportunity to fight, like a challenge, because he's not winning her? It's now he knows that Lois loves Superman, and so now it's like the other guy's playing with the toy and he wants the toy. Like, do you think it's a real I love her, or is it a challenge?
I think he saw something in her on the night of their date when he was all fondling her hands and looking deep into her pools of light eyes. What he has for her, I don't think it's ever really been like love the way a nice kind of love like Lois and Clark will have.
He wants to own her.
It's like an obsession.
But does he think he loves her? Yes, I think he does at this point.
Okay.
I think he's telling himself that, and it's definitely like a sick kind of obsession, yeah.
In my head canon, this is not what happened, I don't believe, but that he got sprayed, Miranda sprayed him with the 100% solution. So when he was on the date with Lois, he actually fell for her permanently. That's in my brain.
Oh.
Even though I don't think that's what happened.
No, I've heard folks say that, and
it would explain it.
But then if you think about it, the perfume was never a perfume to make people fall in love. It was a perfume to rip away your inhibitions, which in this episode presented itself as a lot of love, lusting, and everything. But if you think about it, really could have resulted in a lot of other things, like Lois taking more chances than she usually does with like her work or something like that. Or so I don't think the perfume made Lex fall in love, like in those words. But did it strip away whatever was holding him back from maybe letting himself have feelings? Yeah, maybe. So,
sure.
But I still don't think what he ever has for Lois is a good kind of love.
Right.
Darn it. Although season 3, he does one thing that makes me maybe. Back at the Daily Planet, Lois and Clark are discussing the ramifications of the pheromone spray. Lois still can't quite get over the fact that when she was under the perfume's influence, she fell for Clark. She's not even attracted to him.
All right. Maybe. Somewhere, buried incredibly deep inside me, is some eensy-weensy, microcosmic, although highly unlikely possibility that I feel some sort of unmotivated, completely unrealistic attraction to you.
Just as long as you're being honest with yourself, Lois.
Lois says to him, "Oh, and by the way, I figured out why I had that moment where I thought that you looked like Superman." Clark's like, "Oh?" Lois tells him,
Every woman in love thinks their man looks like Superman.
and we're out.
So did he tell her about that part? Or did she remember that happening? Because she was under the spell, basically.
She had to
But
have. She never would have brought that up. That would have been
that was my
stupid.
question. Exactly. But she didn't remember doing the dance of the seven veils. So
I think that was more like, Clark, tell me I didn't really do that. Tell me I didn't really do that. And he's like, yeah, I think that was that. She
I feel like
remembered.
she remembered a little later on. It was probably foggy at first, and then she got her memories, kind of like Lex did when he woke up. Like he didn't know what was going on, but then he was slowly remembering what happened.
Yeah. Okay, that makes sense, because I wrote down, like, what a bonehead move to tell her, oh, by the way, you thought I looked like Superman. That would not even make sense.
Don't do that.
So, did you guys have anything else you want to talk about? Anything that we left out?
There was one scene that was a transition scene that was really, really cool, that I pushed pause on it because, when you're typing things out, sometimes you walk away and take a minute. But I paused it, and I really never paid attention to this, but it shows the planet and the street, and the ground is wet like it had rained, and it's dark, so the taxis have headlights. And then there's like the Lex Tower in the background, and it looks like there's this cityscape behind the Daily Planet that looked super cool. And having been there a few times and knowing what it really looks like versus what the experts do to make this work, it's just amazing. And it made me smile to see like just how much work goes into it, because I mean, it's a cool shot. So if you get a minute to pause in this episode, I want to say it's right before the dinner with Lex.
Right.
Yeah.
That's very cool.
I noticed that too, yeah.
I think it's a very good thing that Miranda knew how to fly a plane.
She's a versatile.
She's very versatile.
Chemist and pilot.
But not a good cat person.
Yeah, not a good cat owner.
Those HR people were having a good week.
They don't
I don't
exist.
know that I'd want to work.
Do they exist?
That'd be a lot of HR claims that week, for sure.
Right.
Oh, yeah, I kind of actually do want to mention, I like that Jimmy apologized. I hope that Perry apologized off camera to Rogelia, because they do give each other kind of side eye, and it doesn't look like she hates him anymore. And she still works there.
Yeah.
But we never see her again.
True, but that's
So she quits.
There's a lot of characters like that on the show. So, I mean, if you think about it, he had to like use his authority. I don't know what the word is at the planet. The fact that he's a higher up to look at her address and go to her house. Oh my gosh.
Oh, I never thought of that.
That's
creepy. That's creepy.
Definite ick.
There was a part in the script that had Jimmy at the computer searching for April's address, and he found it. So that was a little stalkery.
Yep.
I don't like that either.
And he wanted to borrow $800 from Clark to buy April a dress to impress her. Yeah, Clark was like, how about 20? There was a few things in the script that were changed. There was a second Daily Planet staff meeting that was cut on day 2. They are sitting there. Clark's missing. Lois is like, where is he? Where's Clark? Because she misses him. And then she makes this comment that she had been calling him all night long and his phone was off the hook. So clearly he was annoyed that she was calling him all night long and took it off the hook.
Was she still under the pheromone spell at this point?
She was. This was when
Oh,
she
I
was
wish
in the
they'd kept
the
that.
white dress before he showed up for work.
Okay.
Yeah. So she goes over
So,
to
yeah.
his house on the second night that she had.
The second night.
The first night, I just assume he's out being Superman. Maybe she tried to come to his house, but he wasn't there or something because she wasn't able
Okay.
to.
Yeah, apparently she was just calling him and calling him and calling him, and he took the phone off the hook.
I don't know why I love that so much. It's kind of funny.
I know. I thought it was funny. And also during this Daily Planet meeting, Perry doesn't want to write anything about that counter revolution. He doesn't care about any kind of important news. He just wants to write about this couple reuniting on a train. And that's the paper that you see Lex with the hearts.
Oh, couple
Couples
reunited. Love wins
They
out.
talked
Yeah.
about that. They talked about that in the meeting, and it brings everyone to tears how great this story is, and they all start hugging. So Lois is crying, Perry's crying, Jimmy's crying, and they all hug each other.
Wow, the emotions.
Wow.
Very emotional.
Let's talk about our special features. Jen, were there any fuzzy, feathery, or scaly creatures in this episode?
Well, I was very excited to see that we had one black kitty cat belonging to Miranda. We already kind of covered it, but it makes me happy that we can say that there was an animal in this episode.
Were the birds in the Daily Planet alive?
They were alive.
Should we count?
They
They
were
were
alive. They were moving.
alive? How many were there? Do we know?
I counted 3 that you could see, but there were other bird cages, but I only saw 3 actual live birds.
Wow, I did not think they were alive.
When Lex comes in, there is somebody in the background that takes one of the cages with the birds and like takes it away. So they probably only had them for a little while. Unless they're very good fake birds, but they were moving, so they looked like
Okay.
live birds to me.
Wow.
We know what fake animals look like on this show, so we can assume they were
Rats.
real.
Yeah.
Rats. The fake rat.
All right, I'm here to talk about our acronym of the week. We actually have a group of 3, but they're all related. They are ET, AH, and IE. ET stood for Entertainment Tonight, AH stood for Access Hollywood, and IE was Inside Edition. These are all news/entertainment shows that, yes, were around back in the 90s as well. And every so often, they'd bring us Lois and Clark news or details. Sometimes they would visit the Lois and Clark set and interview the cast, and sometimes they'd report on the guest stars that were coming on the show or about some other exciting plot lines that were coming up. 2 other shows with similar formats were Extra and E-News, but of course those don't require acronyms. So some folks would record these shows every day just in case they showed something LNC related. You guys are both pointing to yourselves. Okay. Those of us who are online, though, had an extra little advantage because if something LNC appeared on one of the shows on the US East Coast, which was 3 hours ahead, a nice folk would usually post something, and then us West Coasters could set our VCR. So I remember Entertainment Tonight being back in the 90s a kind of more family-friendly show with more interviews and set visits and trailers for upcoming movies and stuff like that. But the last time I watched it, which has been a while, it was more tabloidy, more gossipy. Inside Edition was always a little edgier. There was also hard copy, but honestly, if LNC was ever mentioned on there, it was usually something I didn't really want to hear. It was like super gossip.
Yeah.
Shameless plug for our YouTube channel, Folk Central, where there are a few interviews posted from E, Extra, and Entertainment Tonight. And I sincerely intend to post more interviews there by the end of the year.
I always loved the behind the scenes stuff that they would put out. There are some really, really good interviews.
They really played up their chemistry when they were in an interview. Big time.
And it was always a
Yeah.
great chance to see the inside of the Daily Planet from angles that we weren't used to seeing. And
Mhm.
Yes.
yeah, definitely should post
I
that.
was one of those that would just sit on my couch and flip back and forth from one of those to the other, to the next, to the other, just trying to see which TV show was playing some kind of extra something. It would annoy my family to no end because nobody would be able to hear one whole interview because I'd be like, okay, it's not Lois and Clark. We're going to go back over to this channel. But that's how you would catch it.
What about you, Jen? How did you get your interviews?
I feel like I would usually stick with the same channel. So like Extra and Entertainment Tonight. I thought it was Extra first and then Entertainment Tonight came second. And sometimes I just record it just in case. I would have it going that whole hour. And then if nothing was on, I would just rewind and it would be prepared for the next night.
Julie, did you notice any goofs or bloopers in this episode?
I did notice a few. One, maybe a little bit of a stretch, but coming from somebody who's been working in printing for 27 years, that copier tech came in. She said that the copier ate her original, and he looked inside the main unit of the copier. Your original goes nowhere near that. Let's see. You can see Superman's harness clips on his trunks when he's flying with Jimmy. It's very brief. You'd have to look very quickly.
Very brief.
Very brief on his briefs. When Miranda is flying the plane and she kind of diverts it off when he grabs it, those are not her hands. Those are some man hands. And then this one really isn't a goof, but it bothers me that Rahalia is wearing the same purple pants for days. Unless that's her uniform.
Yeah.
Her shirt changes, but her pants stay the same.
Yeah. One of my jobs is to talk about what the hell was Lex talking about in this episode. So when Lex is mooning over Lois during their date, he says,
Imprison her soft hands and let her rave, and feed deep, deep upon her peerless eyes.
This is straight out of the poem Ode on Melancholy by John Keats, written in 1819. Jen, what is your choice for the wildest excuse Clark uses in this episode?
I feel like we got a kind of a good one this week. It was when he said Miranda's pulse rate was over 150 and that it was just a saying. That's not a saying. You can't blame that on Kansas, you weirdo. So I vote that.
Yeah, it's a good one.
Talking about real life people, places, or events in this episode, there were a lot, so I'll talk fast. Lots of songs. When Lois is running in slow-mo toward Clark, we hear La Vie en Rose by Edith Piaf. We hear Perry listening to and then singing Elvis's 1972 song Burning Love. Perry also makes references to Hound Dog and Heartbreak Hotel, and we get mentions of both Elvis and Priscilla again. There was a reference to MIT, the Massachusetts Institute of Technology, a university established in 1861. There were lots of cities and countries mentioned. We had Bosnia, aka Bosnia and Herzegovina, located in Southeast Europe. He mentioned Beirut, which is the capital of Lebanon. And it should be noted that both Bosnia and Beirut were in the news a lot in the early 90s. Got a mention of Russia, Vietnam, Micronesia, where Miranda got some of her perfume ingredients. And we got a reference to Sodom and Gomorrah, biblical cities. Clark used the phrase Scout's Honor, which is a saying used by the Boy Scouts of America. We had a reference to the Dance of the Seven Veils. It's also known as the Dance of Salome, from the play Salome by Oscar Wilde. And finally, we got a mention of Looney Tunes, a series of cartoon characters belonging to Warner Brothers featured in movies and shorts dating back to 1930, one of which we got to see a few episodes back. Now we come to the end of our episode discussion. So we're going to rate the episode on a scale from A+ to F-.
While I do admit this episode has some serious flaws, watching in a 2025 viewpoint, with Clark about to take advantage of Lois, as a kid in 1993, I thought it was adorable that he ultimately broke and almost gave in. It confirmed what we all wanted to see back then, an admittance of feelings between both of them. The cute sexual tension, Clark's inner turmoil, and the fact that Lois finally owns up to a microcosmic attraction to him just makes me happy. Although silly, yes, I still find this a very fun watch. I fully expect to maybe have the highest rating here, but I'm giving it an unapologetic A minus.
So I really liked this one. I liked how Lois kind of had to admit that she does have some hidden feelings for Clark somewhere in there. I liked the predicament that Clark was in because obviously he's been wanting this kind of relationship with Lois for a while now. And there was a kiss, but it was between Superman and Lois, which is not the same as Clark and Lois. In Lois's mind, she is kissing a different man. I also thought the Perry Elvis stuff was funny. The cat stuff was hilarious because she never got sprayed. Overall, just a very entertaining episode. I only brought it down a little bit because it was a Superman Lois kiss and not a Clark and Lois kiss. But, Julie, we give it the same grade. I also gave it an A minus.
Yay!
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
So I loved this one when I was a teenager. It was funny and lovey-dovey and just a really colorful, goofy, fun episode. But now, though, the secondhand embarrassment I feel while watching it kind of brings it down for me a bit. Lois and Clark I can kind of give a pass to because we know they end up together anyway, but the Perry and Jimmy stuff, yikes. Luckily, all that's like, what, 15 minutes of the episode, and some parts I still find funny, like Lois, running toward the camera and slow-mo. The whole episode has a tone of surrealist humor, which isn't something we've seen a lot of on the show so far, but I'm here for it. The Lois Lex storyline turns a corner in this episode, so I appreciate that. It's an important episode for that. My final take is that while it is a solid episode, good writing, good story, lots of things happen, it's just not a favorite, and I give it a B. All right, now don't go anywhere because today Jen is going to tell you all about Jimmy Olsen, number 1, the incredible Michael Landis.
Michael Landis may not have been the first actor to play Jimmy Olsen on screen, but his portrayal in the first season of Lois and Clark brought a fresh, modern twist to the classic Jimmy Olsen. Michael's Jimmy was cooler, a little bit edgier, and perfectly suited for the 90s vibe of the show. He added humor and charm while still being the loyal, dependable friend at the Daily Planet. His boy next door charisma made him a natural, and he was a perfect fit for a character like Jimmy Olsen. Before landing Lois and Clark, Michael Landis was already making waves with guest roles on shows like The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air, The Wonder Years, and The Torkelsons. In his role in The Torkelsons, he played Riley Roberts, the dreamy neighbor that Dorothy Jane crushed on. He appeared in 6 episodes between 1991 and 1992, and yes, there are many floating around on YouTube. One interesting tidbit, he has 1 nomination for the Young Artist Awards. In 1993, he was a nominee for the Best Young Actor in a Television Movie for a CBS School Break special, an episode called Please God, I'm Only 17. This was based on a then famous Ann Landers essay by the same name. Michael plays a teen who's excited to get his driver's license, but one day while he's driving, he's a bit reckless, and the next thing he knows, he's on death's doorstep. As he reflects on his life, he begs to be given another chance. And fun fact, Roxana Zal, who is Lucy Lane number 2, played his sister. After Lois and Clark, Michael Landis didn't even slow down. His career branched out into both television and film, showing just how versatile he is. In the 1995 TV movie, No Greater Love, based on the Danielle Steel novel, Michael played George Winfield, one of 2 younger brothers to main character Edwina. Their family is aboard the Titanic, and while the 3 siblings make it to the lifeboat, their parents stay behind. The movie spans about a decade, and to show Michael's character's aging, he just gets a mustache. So apparently when you get older, you just grow a mustache, and that's how that works.
Nice.
You looked very dapper.
I have not seen it, but you've seen it, Molly? I'm
Yes.
shocked because back in the day, Titanic and then a Lois and Clark character, you would have thought I would have seen that, but Michael also appeared in shows like Special Unit 2, Boston Legal, CSI, Cruel Summer, and Don't Trust the Bee in Apartment 23, while also diving into film projects like Final Destination 2, Just Right, and Heart's War. But so in season 1 of the Freeform series, Cruel Summer, This was in 2021, by the way. Michael played Greg Turner, a real estate agent and father of Jeanette Turner, a young teenage girl who, over the course of 3 summers in the mid-90s, goes through some big personality changes and does some very questionable things. I remember watching this, but I don't really remember anything about this show.
He's a hot dad. Let's.
He's got range, man. So another highlight of Michael's career was his role in the British action adventure series Hooten and the Lady, where he played like this Indiana Jones style explorer named Hooten. It's a completely different kind of role from Jimmy Olsen. And I looked this one up, and there are a number of the episodes, and I kind of want to watch a few, and I'm adding it to my TBW to be watched. So I'm sure you guys have seen some of his other works. Which roles outside of Lois and Clark stand out to the most to you?
Have you guys seen Getting Personal?
No.
That he produced that one. It has Lane Smith as his psychiatrist in the movie, and it has John Shea playing his dad.
What?
So if you haven't seen that one, you should watch it. You got all 3 of them. It's a little reunion because he's the one that made the movie. I thought that was very cool. That one came out, I think, in 1998. I also remember he was in one episode of Get Real. I was really into that show. I was so bummed when they canceled it.
Have you ever watched his really early Wonder Years episodes when he's like 17, 18? Yeah, you should check those out.
I've seen them a long time ago. Long time ago.
Yeah, I heard that. It might have been the Superman Celebration interview. I can't remember. But he was talking about how it was basically a no part, kind of an extra part. And then they liked him so much, they brought him back for the next season. For the Wonder Years.
So I have a question for you guys. If he was here right now and we were interviewing him, if you could ask him just one question about his time on the show, what would your question be?
I'm not sure I would want to actually ask him this to his face because I would feel bad. But did he already know that he wasn't going to be back for season 2 when he and Jack are handed the pink slips in Barbarians of the Planet? Because that's just mean to be like, Jack and Jimmy, here's your pink slips. And by the way, this is for real.
Yeah. I don't think he knew until after. I just remember seeing an interview where he said he was on vacation when he found out. So that kind of leads me to believe that
he went.
They were on a hiatus already.
Yeah.
Justice for Michael.
Could have been a weekend vacation. I don't know.
Maybe.
He also did some research for the show. Once he got cast, he worked at the LA Times as a photographer. Not worked, but I guess he worked, kind of following the photographers around for 2 weeks just to kind of learn the ins and outs. And he wanted to do a good job as being a photographer. And he actually got one of his photos published in the LA Times because they liked it better than the actual photographers. I thought that was pretty cool.
So I have a quick lightning round of Jimmy Olsen trivia, and I'm going to throw out some questions, and let's see if you guys know the answers. And some are going to be really easy. Question number 1. Michael Landis only played Jimmy Olsen for 1 season of Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman. Do you know why he was replaced? This is so easy. But
it depends who you ask.
Okay.
He says it's because he looked too much like Dean and Teri.
And Teri?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
I think it was Robert Singer, maybe, who let it slip that they weren't getting the Tiger Beat audience from him like they wanted. So they wanted somebody that would be more like Jonathan Brandis, bringing in the little girls. But shoot, you already had us.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. Question number 2. True or false? Michael Landis is married to another actor he met while working on a show.
That sounds true. I would say yes, true.
I'm going to say true, but that's a complete guess because I have no idea.
It is true. He's married to British actress Wendy Benson. Question number 3. This one's maybe a little harder, but I don't know. You guys are smart. Which Hollywood A-listers did Michael Landis star alongside in the war drama Hearts War?
Hearts War.
There's two.
Bruce Willis?
Yep, that's one.
Gosh, I've seen this too. Who? Colin
No.
Farrell.
Yes.
Woo!
You got it. Bruce Willis and Colin Farrell. Good job. Okay, question number 4. So name at least one TV genre that Michael Landis has not tackled, and I'll give you a list, and one of these is not it.
Oh.
Sci-fi, adventure, romantic comedy, or reality TV.
I'm sorry, but 3 of those are Lois and Clark, so
I know. Right?
I say reality TV.
I'm gonna say reality TV.
Yes,
Yeah.
you're right. Last question. Bonus question. Michael Landis has mentioned in interviews that he originally considered a career outside of acting. What was it?
Oh.
Is it entertainment related?
Yes.
Yeah, because usually they want to be like directors, but
Yep. Yeah, directing. He's expressed an interest in directing and behind the camera work. So yeah, very cliche. And that's what I have.
I watched this interview not that long ago where I thought it was really great that Michael looked back fondly on his time on Lois and Clark, even though it kind of ended badly for him, unfortunately. He looked back on Lane Smith's calling him a mentor, a friend who gave him really good advice back then, took him under his wing.
You've always been like a father to me, and I love you for that.
Jimmy, are you okay?
Me? Oh, man. Chief, you're too much.
He said that he was the very first person cast for the show. He beat out, get this, Paul Rudd and Scott Wolf. Can you
Paul
picture
Rudd?
Paul Rudd and Scott Wolf as Jimmy? He also talked about how when he left Lois and Clark, he wanted to move back to New York where he grew up, and he didn't have a place, and he actually moved in with John Shea for 10 days while he found a place. And I thought that was
Wow.
pretty cool.
They have
So
a
he
little
was like, oh, that was
family.
really nice of him.
So thank you to everyone for joining us today. If you are following along with our viewing patterns, our next episode that we're going to cover is season 1, episode 11, Honeymoon in Metropolis. I say that with a question mark because there's this whole thing about how it's technically wasn't filmed as number 11, and we'll talk about that more when we get to it, but we decided to go with the DVD order for this episode, and yeah, Honeymoon in Metropolis. I know we have some fans of that one.
I love it.
Wait a minute. How do I find you?
You can find us on Instagram or Blue Sky as Folks Forever. That's FOLCSFOREVER. Or you can visit our website at folksforeverpod.wixsite.com/podcast. And until next time, please enjoy this amazing little ditty.
Mist in the air, a magical bloom, a scent that sparks, ignites the room. Lois spins, she's under the spell. Her heart's racing, oh, who can tell? Hearts on fire, stories unfold. Clark's the only lovers caught in a perfume design.